we're here in Edinburgh. I'm so excited to be here.
I know, right? It's amazing how much creativity and innovation came out of the city during the Scottish Enlightenment.
Oh yeah. And let's not forget about the coffee shops. I mean, those were like the fuel that brewed all the ideas at the time.
Did you know that J.K. Rowling wrote majority of the Harry Potter book series right here in Edinburgh at a cafe?
Of course I know that. I've already taken the which house are you anyway quizzes, and I'm a Hufflepuff through and through.
Well, these are the streets that inspired Diagon Alley, and many of the buildings haven't changed since Hutcheson's time.
If they're anything like Universal Studios, it's gonna be lit.
Well, in the 1700s, Scotland was so ahead of the game when it came to education. In the Scottish Lowlands, they had these cool things called parish schools, and they had not one, but 5 universities. I mean, England didn't have a chance to catch up.
England didn't have schools for every kid until many years later. Scotland was like the superstar of learning, paving the way for education.
Mm-hmm. And it just goes to show that if you were a smarty pants or a knowledge seeker, Scotland was the place to be. I mean, they influenced people for years to come. Kudos to you, Scotland. Hey, do you want to go get some haggis?
Yes.
Oh,
let's go.
Look at this.
Looking
Delicious. Can't get it on.
actually this is pretty good.
That's delicious. Hutcheson was a professor here at Glasgow University, where he taught his students to think critically of religion and encouraged them to develop their own sense of morality, or doing what they believe is right and good.
Sounds like a proper Harry Potter. Gryffindor represents. Unlike Malfoy, he's a classic golden snitch.
Hutcheson believed that everybody had the right to question and explore their own beliefs, which was a major shift from the dangerous and restrictive religious ideas of the pre-Enlightenment period.
He also believed that everybody could make good choices, not only for the benefit of themselves, but for the good of everybody.
Hey, did you know that people used to believe that religion should be the only thing that guided society? And if anyone questioned it, they could be punished or even put to death? What? That sounds so controlling and intense.
In the late 1700s, there was a young Scottish medical student named Thomas Aikenhead. He got in trouble for saying some disrespectful things about God. The authorities decided to go to the extreme and sentence him to death. They wanted to scare everyone into following their religious rules, but it actually did the opposite. It showed them how much control the authorities had and made them question those religious laws even more.
Sometimes when people try to show power, it can backfire and make things worse. No joke. That, along with many other factors, ushered the Scottish Enlightenment, which was like a light bulb moment for a lot of people. Thinkers like Francis Hutcheson, along with other philosophers and scientists, challenged the idea that religion should control everything and argued that everyone should be free to think for themselves.
Hey, Steve Jobs, the creator of the iPhone, iPad, and Pixar movies, actually once said something like that.
Steve Jobs was a genius. I couldn't live without my iPhone.
Steve was a talented designer who really understood people. He believed that we all have good instincts and should trust them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the people asked for a better camera and Steve delivered.
Yeah, and the thing that Steve said was, what's important is that we have faith in people. that basically they're good and smart. And if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things.
Wow, Steve really was a modern day philosopher.
Oh yeah. And you know, Hutcheson was kind of like the Steve Jobs of the 18th century. His ideas impacted a great many people, including David Hume and Adam Smith, who went on to become good friends and major influencers in their own right.
Yeah, people asked for a better camera and Steve delivered.
Oh yeah. It's amazing to see how the Scottish Enlightenment's ideals have impacted the world.
And we can still learn from these thinkers today to make the world a better place.
Exactly. I mean, it is so important to be able to speak your mind and come up with creative solutions without the fear of being punished for it. I am so glad that we have those rights today.
Hi everybody. Now before we start talking about this church and the buildings around it, we wanted to talk about this area called West George Street. Now, there was a chapel led by Reverend Ralph Wardlaw who helped support the abolition movement.
Yeah. Glasgow in the 18th century was very rich, but this was due to slavery. You see, a lot of people opposed slavery, yet a lot of people also benefited from it.
Yes, and there were a lot of philosophers that helped support this movement as well, including Francis Hutcheson and Adam Smith in 1730.
Yeah. And in the Glasgow port, you can find the statue of Abraham Lincoln. This is due to his fight against slavery.
Yes, and if you look to the building to the left of St. George Tron Parish Church, you will see the old stock exchange.
Yes, the Tron Parish Church gets its name from this weighing machine called a Tron. And as you can see, this building also memorializes art, science, and trade. Hey, you know how Francis Hutcheson was a professor at the University of Glasgow in Scotland? Well, Adam Smith was too.
Really? Adam Smith was a professor?
Uh-huh.
What did he teach?
Well, he taught a bunch of stuff, like moral philosophy and economics and a bunch of other subjects. And apparently he was a really fun professor and encouraged students to think outside of the box.
Wow, that sounds like a really fun class.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and you know, he wrote that one book, The Wealth of Nations. Apparently, his good friend David Hume encouraged him to write it.
That's what friends are for, after all.
Adam Smith believed in the same thing too. He thought that if people came together and shared their ideas, we could accomplish so much more. And even though we didn't always agree.
Totes. You know, in his book, Smith talked about something called the invisible hand. Basically, this means that people in business should look out for their own self-interest. And even though this might seem contradictory, that actually helped out the entire economy.
So even though people were only looking out for themselves, this ended up being a good thing?
Absolutely. I mean, think about when we're sharing snacks, you know? You share with me, and you're really looking out for yourself because you want me to share with you. But we all win in the end because we're getting to try out a bunch of different snacks. Or, I have another example for you. Have you ever tried to go out and sell lemonade on a hot day, but you weren't getting many customers, and so you drop your price point to try to attract some more? You know, this helps out both parties. They're getting lemonade, and you're getting a sale.
Yes. So basically, Adam Smith had some really smart ideas about how money and markets worked. His ideas help people understand how to make more money and create a better life for everyone.
Absolutely. So next time you're online shopping, you think about Adam Smith and the invisible hand. So far, we've talked about the importance of the scientific approach and how the environment has had an impact on the Scottish Enlightenment. But did you know that a few hundred years ago, libraries were actually frequented by these philosophers? I bet this place played a big part in shaping those great minds. It was a place where scholars could access books and resources from all over the world.
Definitely. The library was a crucial part of the intellectual community during the Scottish Enlightenment.
That's right. After all these Scottish school kids grew up, they wrote a ton of information about everything inside a series of books for everyone else to use.
Speaking of books, did you know that the encyclopedia was first written here?
Yeah, it was the ultimate life hack. Like the internet. Before the internet.
Plus, the library was more than just a place to read books. It was where the great thinkers of the time came to collaborate and share their ideas, just like in the coffee shops.
And in current day businesses, we're trying to foster the same environment. You know, getting people to work together and try new things, because we know that's how good ideas are made.
Yes, it's like these Enlightenment thinkers were trying to play the ultimate puzzle game, but the puzzle pieces were real-life problems that needed solving. The coolest thing is that their solutions have had major impacts in the world we live in.
It's totally right. And you know, the ideals and philosophies of the Scottish Enlightenment actually impacted the foundation of modern day science, politics, and economics. And just now at Edinburgh University, we visited a school that is currently blending design and philosophy in a way that impacts designers today.
You know what, Hailey? I've been thinking about how we can apply the ideas from the Scottish Enlightenment to our own design process.
Yeah? What are you thinking about?
Okay, so what if instead of just jumping in and trying to find solutions off the bat, we become detectives in our own right, you know? Really investigate and understand the problem that we're trying to solve. And then we can go out and collect a bunch of data. And then using that awesome knowledge, we can make better and smarter decisions.
Yes, we could put our detective thinking caps on and dive into the mysteries around us. By using analytical skills, we can unlock amazing solutions to help the world one problem at a time.
Totes. And you know what else I was thinking about? I think the Scottish Enlightenment was really just a bunch of brainy buddies who wanted people to be able to get together and swap ideas and learn from one another. I mean, they were all about intellectual diversity and the free exchange of thought. Let's be open-minded superheroes too.
Yes, we could ask our clients and the people that care about our work.
Oh, totes. And also these super smart experts. And we can ask them for advice and ideas.
I agree. By using these principles, we can become better designers and problem solvers.
Bro, that's fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for joining us on this journey from London to Glasgow, all the way to Edinburgh. I mean, I know I had a blast. How about you, Hailey?
Of course. Haggis, how about you?
So glad we came. Are we done already?
I think so.
Hold on. Play back some of those clips of us back at the mausoleum, and maybe a few others. Oh, do we have time?
Yes, let's take a look.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Welcome to the Old Kelton Cemetery in Edinburgh, next to David Hume's mausoleum. This tomb was designed by his close friend Robert Adam, who was an architect. Pass me a wee brew. I have a joke to tell these lads. That hits the spot.
Iron Brew is a soda drink that's very popular here in Scotland. I hear that the Scots can't ever decide on what it tastes like. Hey Haggis, what do you say Iron Brew tastes like?
Fuzzy bubblegum? Pass me some of that. Bubblegum is my favorite flavor. Are you folks ready? Knock knock.
Who's there?
Hume.
Hume who?
Hume from Scotland to change the world. David Hume. Aw, that was quite wholesome. Thank you. I try.
Bye.